Welcome to another section of Manufacturing Enhancements for Mechanical Engineers, Section 1.3.1, Machine Setups. The cost of machining a part is determined by several factors. 1. How the part geometry is fixtured. 2. How many setups are required. 3. The precision required. And 4. The material the part is made of and the tooling to be used. All of these affect the accuracy and cost of the part. Manual positioning introduces a small position error each time there is another setup. The machine setup process involves installing cutting tools, calibration, fixtures or vices, additional work holding, and other. The simple parts require simple setups, whereas parts demanding intricate designs may require complex setups, which adds to costs. If the parts are simple, then programming can be finished in a few minutes. However, in the case of complex programs, it may take hours. Setup time, in the case of CNC machines, whether utilizing CAM software or manual input, requires programming, machine setup, and part fixturing. It will typically result in a large portion of the machining cost at the start. It should be minimized as much as possible. However, there is no programming when using a manual or conventional 2.5 3-axis machine as shown here. It is wise to assume your parts will be made on a 2.5 3-axis machine, whether a manual mill or programmable CNC, due to their common availability. With a 2.5 3-axis machine type, aside from the part profile, features can only be machined on one side at a time. Most parts can be machined in a vise in 6 setups or less, as they are made from a 6-sided prismatic piece of stock material, such as a sheet, bar, or strip held in place by a vise or vacuum table. You should try to reduce this number as much as possible. 1 or 2 is ideal, as each setup requires its own program and fixturing step. This would not take into consideration the need to square or clean up the raw material stock, depending on the precision of the raw material used. That process will also add to the part cost and is usually common practice. For example, here is a part that would only need one setup, as all the machining takes place on one plane. That means you can set up the part once in the machine vise, or even do more than one if 2 vices are used. The setup would be relatively simple, and the cost of machining the part less expensive. Now let us look at a part requiring more than one setup on a 2.5 3-axis CNC machine using a standard vise. In this example, there are machining operations required on 3 planes or surfaces. This part must have the various machined features where they are on the part, due to how it functions when installed. In this case, the part will need to be accurately positioned and repositioned for each plane's operations using mechanical stops or by the machinist using some method of indicating the part each time. This increases the cost, results in some loss of accuracy, even though slight. This means the machining drawing must provide the major references for the machinist to accurately mount the part in the vise. In this example, the machinist uses a second vise to machine 2 at a time with the opposite surface in the second vise, or he could make a dedicated fixture to machine all the surfaces in the same machining cycle if there are many parts to make. In this instance, another setup would be needed to machine the third surface. The CNC machine would need to be programmed to take into consideration what variation of part setup is more efficient. We will not get into fixture design in these presentations. As previously mentioned regarding this part, these features needed to be where they are to perform critical functions. However, there are times when features can be rearranged or eliminated altogether to facilitate reducing the number of setups required. Perhaps you remember this part from the introduction presentation. There were several areas in the original design that could not be machined and involved 3 setups to complete. After the redesign, the part went from 3 setups to a single setup. The thing to remember when designing your parts is to ask yourself, do I really need this feature for the part to be effective? Will this feature make the part difficult to machine? How many setups will it involve for the overall part? Can the part be changed to a less expensive material? Will this material require non-standard cutting tools? If grinding is specified, is it necessary? If a material coating is specified, is it necessary? Can the part be held in a standard vise, or does it need something custom made? There will probably be other concerns or questions you need to consider, but you get the idea. The main takeaway is to challenge yourself to think in terms of not how to make the part look nice, but to serve the purpose without added expense and time in making it. Let's discuss more on question 4. Can the part be changed to a less expensive material? Many excellent materials can be machined, each with its own unique set of properties, applications, and costs. Always check before you design. The price of different stock materials will vary, but is usually based on general availability and the difficulty to produce that material in a specific stock type. In general, you should choose the least expensive material possible that still fulfills your design requirements, such as aluminum as an example. Questions 6 and 7 regarding the need for additional grinding of the part and/or a specific material treatment, such as anodizing, black oxide, or heat treatment. Keep in mind that there is additional expense and time to be considered. The company making the part may have to send the part to another outside company to apply the material finishing. Also, if the part requires grinding after the heat treatment or other, that will still require another setup cost as well as delay in completion of the part. There will be another section that discusses coating and plating of materials in depth, as the coating does affect the size. Another situation that would require an additional setup to the cost would be if 2 or more parts must be assembled and then machined together as a matched set. There are times when this cannot be avoided, so you need to anticipate and provide for it in the design. For example, here we have a die set. This die set has 2 die set bushings that contain the 2 guideposts, allowing for the die set to lift and lower accurately. To accomplish this, the bores for the bushings and the guideposts must be in line and perpendicular to the base plate and ram plate. One way to accomplish this is to mount the base plate and the ram plate together, bore the holes for the bushing and post. Obviously, even before this can be done, the mating surfaces of the plates will need to be flat and parallel, which means you need to do the surface grinding. That adds cost to the parts and to the whole job. All the other parts could be made. However, the entire assembly of the die set cannot be done until these secondary operations have been completed. Now, with the ground mating surfaces completed, the ram and base plates are held into place using the same mount holes for mounting the upper and lower die holders, meaning that extra mounting holes were not needed for this operation. By thinking ahead, knowing you will need this separate operation, you've saved time and expense. Now the bore holes for the bushings and the posts can be done accurately. So what would be the takeaways or things you should remember about this section regarding setups? 1. Keeping the cost down for manufacturing the part is important. Understand how the part is going to be set up in the machine. Keep the number of setups to a minimum. 2. Do not make the part so complex that special tooling or fixturing needs to be made. Look for features that can be eliminated or relocated to reduce additional setups. 3. Know ahead of time if the part will require more than just a CNC or conventional 2.5-3 axis mill. 4. Determine if there will be a secondaries operations needed, such as grinding or material treatment, and plan accordingly for possible delays. If so, do you need to add features to the design to account for them, or can you use existing features to serve the same purpose? And 5. Make sure the material you choose is going to provide you with the function you designed for while being the least expensive and readily available. This will end the section on milling best practices. As always, if you have any questions or would like to comment on any of the content provided in this presentation, please email me at this address and I will be sure to reply. Now let's go on to the next section, 1.3.2, Tolerances.